I was hoping not to make that big clangy sound. Sorry about that. So our gathering music this morning is Building Bridges. The words are up front. I'll try to not stand in your way. We will sing it one time through all together, and then we're going to sing it in a round. You love singing in rounds, and so this is for you. It's really not just for me. So I will be leading this side. We will be part one. And this side, you will be with Amy. You will be part two. Okay? Someday, we'll do four. But today, just two. Not today's not that day. So James, if you would play it, just the melody one time all the way through. Together.
Welcome to the beloved community, are we on? Yeah? Okay. Known as UU Amherst. I'm Amy Malachowski, and I'm a member of the worship design team. We realize that you have many options for how to spend your Sunday morning, and we're grateful you've decided to spend it with us. We send a special warm welcome to those joining by live stream, as well as those who will view the recorded version of the service in the days to come. What an amazing time to be alive. Nursery care for infants through preschool is available every Sunday in the room just beyond the atrium, through the green and growing space adjoining the chapel, although they are always welcome to remain in the service. Older children and youth will remain in the service. If they need a break, there are quiet crafts and projects available in the atrium with our helping hand volunteer to supervise and help. For those gathered in the chapel, I invite you to put your phones on airplane mode, or as we like to call it, worship mode, so that you and all may be fully present and free from distraction, as well as freeing up web bandwidth so our live streaming friends are able to enjoy the service without disruption. Our opening words will be "You Have Come" by Reverend Bob Janice Dillon. You have come through these doors and into this place. You have come to be with others who care about what it means to live on this beautiful blue-green world.
You have come to be with your innermost self, to hear the deep wells within you brimming with courage and vision. You have come to rest in God, rest in the divine silence, to be renewed by not having to be anyone other than who you are right now. You, one small part of the eternal cosmos.
You have come to cry out, to rattle the walls that contain all the prisoners of injustice and greed and isolation. And when the time comes to tear the walls down, you are welcome.
The world needs a few people who are honest, even to the point of accepting their imperfection. The world needs a few people who are brave enough to risk individual comfort for the sake of a larger love. The world needs a few people who honor their own pain while simultaneously remaining open to the transformation of pain to wisdom and compassion. The world needs a few people who step into the unknown, carrying enough love to make things interesting.
The world needs a few people who are ready to come alive. The sign-up sheets are not on any wall, but wait eternally within the human heart. Let us gather in peace. Let us make room for the infinite possibilities of the Spirit. Welcome, friends, to this hour and to this place. Our song of intention this morning is found in the Teal hymnal at 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. Please rise and body our spirit as we sing. It is our custom when we gather to light a chalice. The chalice is a cup or vessel that symbolizes the gathered community. The flame represents the spark that each one of us brings to represent the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of our commitment to bring more compassion and justice to the world. Please join me in our chalice lighting words as Kate lights the flame. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life we share together. Each week, as we light the chalice to symbolize the gathered community, we also acknowledge that our church is built on holy ground, ground that was first cultivated and occupied by the Haudenosaunee and those known as the Neutrals. We offer this libation as our giveaway, a symbol of our respect for and deep connection with the land. We are a beloved community, a gathering of people who have chosen to journey together, to encourage one another, and to be part of something important and life-changing. Because we aspire to be such a people, we make bold promises about how we will be with one another. Whether today is your first time or you've made UU Amherst your longtime home, you are invited to share in our sacred promise. Together, we promise to gather in compassionate community, to celebrate diversity of thought and unity of spirit, and to seek wholeness for ourselves, our children, and our world.
I'm excited today to be sharing the service with Amy Malachowski, Eve Tulbert, and Linda Joy and Erica Groat. It's always fun for me when Amy is assisting, and not just because I know her vocals make it possible for us to sing in a round. I'm also grateful to Kate Smidt, a fairly new member to UU Amherst, for the chalice lighting and land acknowledgement. If any of you are interested in participating in this way in the service, did you notice Kate didn't have to say a thing? Just fire and water. And Amy had a full script. So you, yes, you, could be part of so many areas of ministry in the congregation. And I'd like to invite you to be part of that which happens in this particular space. See me after the service about any areas that you'd like to participate in and become more deeply rooted, more closely woven into this beloved community. In just a few minutes, Eve Tulbert will be offering a reflection. Eve is the daughter of longtime members Hal and Betty Leader. And although she lives in Rochester, Eve, along with Betty, has been connecting with all ages here at UU Amherst, as she has shared her wisdom as an ecologist to help us understand and teaching our children to paint in watercolor. The various plant species in the Waterhouse Ecology Center, which is just beyond our parking lot. You go straight out the doors, through the parking lot, you are automatically in the Debbie Waterhouse Ecology Center. It's named for Debbie Waterhouse, the daughter of one of the early ministers here who died tragically. Throughout Eve's reflection, you will hear words and concepts drawn from Brené Brown's book, Dare to Lead, which will be the subject of our fall book discussion. See the usual communication hotspots for more information on being part of the reading and discussion group. Dare to Lead is a counter-narrative about modern workplace culture that offers vulnerability, trust, values, and resilience as the most crucial leadership qualities. Daring to lead is about being brave enough to embrace leadership that exposes fear and uncertainty. I'll note that it was created for sort of workplace communication. I can't think of a place that works better or more than a congregation. So if you're thinking, oh, this is for my job, no, this is for us here. So if you're interested, you can find more information about that. So from that book, we get concepts like the rumble, which is having the courage and vulnerability to engage in difficult conversations. All of the skills in the book are meant to guide us to more wholehearted living. So to lead us into Eve's reflection, I share with you an excerpt from Braiding Sweetgrass, a former book discussion choice, written by Robin Wall Kimmerer, American Distinguished Teaching Professor of Environmental and Forest Biology and Director for the Center for Native Peoples and the Environment at the State University of New York College of Environmental Science and Forestry. And so now I offer you Robin Wall Kimmerer's words in this excerpt. It is said that the Creator gathered together the four sacred elements and breathed life into them to give form to original man before setting him upon Turtle Island. The last of all things to be created, first man was given the name Nanabojo. The Creator called out the name to the four directions so that the others would know who was coming. Nanabojo, part man, part Manito, a powerful spirit being, is the personification of life forces, the Anishinaabe culture hero, and our great teacher of how to be human. In Nanabojo's form as original man and in our own, we humans are the newest arrivals on Earth, the youngsters, just learning to find our way. I can imagine how it might have been for him in the beginning, before anyone knew him and he did not know them. I too was a stranger at first in this dark, dripping forest, perched at the edge of the sea. But I sought out an elder, my Sitka spruce grandmother, with a lap wide enough for many grandchildren. I introduced myself, told her my name and why I had come. I offered her tobacco from my pouch and asked if I might visit in her community for a time. She asked me to sit down, and there was a place right between her roots. Her canopy towers above the forest, and her swaying foliage is constantly murmuring to her neighbors. I know she'll eventually pass the word and my name on the wind. The ground where I sit with Sitka grandmother is deep with needles, soft with centuries of humus. The trees are so old that my lifetime compared to theirs is just a bird song long. The author tells the story of Nanabojo's journey to the four directions, and then she applies the story to her experience as she continues. From my high bluff on the coast, I look east, and the hills before me are a ragged range of clear-cut forests. To the south, I see an estuary dammed and diked so that salmon may no longer pass. On the western horizon, a bottom-dragging trawler scrapes up the ocean floor. And far away to the north, the earth is torn open for oil. Had the new people learned what original man was taught at a council of animals, never damage creation and never interfere with the sacred purpose of another being, then the eagle would look down on a different world. The salmon would be crowding up the rivers and passenger pigeons would darken the sky. Wolves, cranes, Nehalem, cougars, Lenape, old-growth forests would still be here, each fulfilling their sacred purpose. I would be speaking Potawatomi. We would see what Nanabojo saw. It does not bear too much imagining, for in that direction lies heartbreak. Against the backdrop of that history, an invitation to settler society to become indigenous to place feels like a free ticket to a housebreaking party. It could be read as an open invitation to take what little is left. Can settlers be trusted to follow Nanabojo, to walk so that each step is a greeting to Mother Earth? I go to sit with my Sitka spruce grandmother to think. I am not from here, just a stranger who comes with gratitude and respect and questions of how it is we come to belong to a place. And yet she makes me welcome, just as we are told the big trees of the West kindly looked after Nanabojo. Even as I sit in her still shadow, my thoughts are all tangled. Like my elders before me, I want to envision a way that an immigrant society could become indigenous to place. But I'm stumbling on the words. Immigrants cannot, by definition, be indigenous. Indigenous is a birthright word. No amount of time or caring changes history or substitutes for soul-deep fusion with the land. Following Nanabojo's footsteps doesn't guarantee transformation of second man to first. But if people do not feel indigenous, can they nevertheless enter into the deep reciprocity that renews the world? Is this something that can be learned? I sit a long time, and eventually the sound of the wind in Grandmother Sitka's branches washes words away, and I lose myself in just listening to the crisp voice of laurels, the chatter of alders, the whispers of lichens. I have to be reminded, just like Nanabojo, that the plants are our oldest teachers. Eve. And this water is yours.
Thank you. Awesome. Hello, everyone. Good morning. It's nice to be here among you and the trees. Today, the title of my short talk is 3 Lessons on Restoration Ecology and Why. Why does it matter? And my mission here is to share the results of a little science project that I started on looking at the species in the Waterhouse Ecology Center. So today I'll talk with you a little bit about those species and our congregational relationship to them. A lot of times at church, we might talk about the ins and outs of science, the size of the universe, the preservation of matter and energy in this burning of the candle, the beauty of an oak leaf, or perhaps the elements that make up these labyrinth blessing stones, agate, labradorite, and amber. But we usually don't have to make decisions as a congregation that rely on our knowledge of science in the world around us. Church is largely a social event in the world of human beings, a time to see friends, and if you're my 4-year-old Avi, to get to try new snacks at the coffee hour table. But this church has a special gift, a gift that does require some science to deliberate upon, and that is our Waterhouse Ecology Center. This is about 6 acres of land designated as an ecology center as a memorial dedication of goodwill in the church and the Waterhouses as our former leaders, a dedication built to last. We also call this land our backyard, or perhaps the Shire, or my favorite designation, that it is the Haudenosaunee lands that we owe the grace of our church meetings to, those original land bearers who studied the oak trees of the Ecology Center long before it was given a title in English. And I like the name Waterhouse because all land is a place where water resides in a matrix of land as ecological opportunities for the living world to thrive. Over the course of 2023 and 2022, my mother Elizabeth and I have been teaching ecology and art lessons using this Ecology Center and learning more about the community of people and species that take care of this place, including the visits of periodic roaming ghosts, or goats. Perhaps ghosts too. We've also started a species inventory to find out what's growing there. So here is just 4 of the species we found living on the oak tree, though there are thousands of species that live on and among oak trees. Through this activity, we've started to discuss what would it take to have a land management plan for the Waterhouse Ecology Center. What would it be? What values would it hold? What process would it take? And what stakeholders might be involved. And as we've discussed these things, we've started to learn more about a framework for land management planning called restoration ecology, restoring ecology. And this includes studying what was here before, looking closely at more recent trends, making predictive analytic guesses using the knowledge of science, and making a plan to act with coordination. So what exactly was here before? Well, that would be pre-Columbian climax forest. Okay, that's a long blah, blah, blah. But what it means is dry mesic oak forest and pine forests, black and red oaks, ash trees, walnuts, hickories, sugar maple, red maple, white ash, tulips, beech, cherry, elm, viburnum, and hazelwood in the brush, sumac in the brush. And then in the prairie layer, perhaps milkweed, wild carrot, bluestem, Indian grass, switchgrass. These are just a few things that we can look for right in the backyard. But these are not just names in the end. It's the experience of the world that matters, not just our words for it, right? So let's watch a little bit, meditate, breathe, and look at the value of a forest without words. This is a video from a preserved climax forest in Allegheny, and enjoy imagining walking through it as you think, what is in a healthy forest? What species do you see? How do they interact? Now here, I'll give a short dialogue on the problem of preserving a forest for generations in the time that we are in now, which some people call the Anthropocene. This is the time when human migration and human design and human-built community radically change the face of nature on this earth. The second point of this lesson is that all ecological communities are rapidly changing because new species from other areas in the world come in and invade. And this is called sometimes the Columbian exchange, and the problem of invasive species control. Basically, if a foreign tree or shrub produces a lot of seeds and berries and few local animals use them, they can quickly crowd out the more established species of a climax forest. The Columbian exchange refers to this basic fact that after the conquest of the Americas, species of plants, animals, diseases migrated, not just people. All of this is alive in our restoration ecology work today, which often has to do with species management dilemmas. And this is where we meet the dilemma for the church as a owner and caretaker of 6 acres of Waterhouse Ecology Center on Haudenosaunee lands. We are also the owners and managers, in some sense, of a lot of non-native invasive species shrubs. My initial investigation of that plant canopy suggests that invasive honeysuckle and buckthorn make up at least about 50 or 60% of our forest tree canopy. Okay, who cares? Why should this matter? Well, this is the reason. A healthy forest, a climax forest filled with life, has interdependent species that form layers of a very big living canopy. Big in that it's tall, with layers and roots growing deep into the ground, and that's a lot of biomass, living ecology that sequesters carbon, cleaning the air. In a forest with many invasive species, when the old native tall trees die, like our really old oak, maybe it's 400-year-old oak, when those trees die, they are quickly replaced by this invasive brush that doesn't feed the native species of animals, and that also just keeps spreading. And so when the old trees fall and decay, the land around them quickly becomes invasive prickly shrubs that don't allow the native trees and seeds, like oak acorns, to take root and grow naturally. In fact, if you take a walk in the preserve right now, you'll end up with a lot of honeysuckle seeds stuck all over your pant legs and shoes. And that's why many parks use trail tools and signs to help people reduce this invasive spread. So that brings me to lesson 3 about restoration ecology. We matter a lot. What we do makes a difference towards balance or imbalance in an ecosystem. Back to the restoration ecology core problem of land management, what do we need to know in order to act? One thing is knowing that stakeholders and efforts are happening in our region around conservation in a conversation. That forest that we virtually walk through is protected by the Western New York Land Conservancy, whose mission is to protect wildlands, to create a regional wild way that allows for species migration. I'll read from their website. In Western New York, we see a microcosm of the global crisis unfolding. Sprawling development leaves fragmentary landscape, disconnected patchworks of forests that leave plants and animals homeless and disconnected on tiny islands. Failing to address this puts us on a path towards more invasive species and ultimately species extinction. But if we matter, what do? These lessons on restoration ecology might come up in a new program starting this October, where some groups will form to read Dare to Lead by Brene Brown as we consider our leadership dedications and wholehearted aspirations as UU Amherst members on this land. In the book, Brown talks about the idea of a rumble, that wholehearted discussion in which we address challenging issues with openness. So now I'll share you a little bit of my personal and our family rumble on the problem of the Waterhouse Ecology Center. Like many others here, I'm multiply invested. I've got a 4-year-old, work 2 jobs, working on my dissertation in ecology education. Will I ever finish? I'm tired a lot. In fact, since becoming a mom, I never feel like I have extra time. I feel like I'm short on time and mentorship and learning coaching and investments for projects I care about. So I'm not sure yet if I want to dare to lead on what I know to be the real Waterhouse Ecology Center problem of the species community here, because I don't know if I have what it takes to lead in restoration ecology here, if there's interest. And at the same time, I'm sad that we don't have a robust and active faith development program for youth. So that's the state of things, and I know in my Dare to Lead self that I also need to make sure that Avi has a church family where he can feel connected as he grows. All of these things are very real dilemmas in my Dare to Lead space when I'm honest about it. Why are there so few children here? And do we have what it takes to care for this actual land? As I started to research the question on the budget for the Waterhouse Ecology Center, I've learned that the church not only designates about $100 a year in its budget for grounds, due to little fiscal leeway to cover other expenses. And my mom and I have asked the Board of Trustees to take this up in some conversation. Where could resources for the Waterhouse Ecology Center live in the church's financial planning if a caring team were to propose additional grants? What other stakeholders in the community could get involved in an inviting Waterhouse Eco Center park with an ecological maintenance practice? So we're waiting for further discussion at the board level, but if this resonates with you, offering your thoughts or fellow members in the board, your thoughts would help to promote the possibility of a better plan for the land. So, given that I want to dare to lead this fall and winter, but I'm time-strapped, mom, multiply committed, tired, I've committed to just dare to do the following things regarding this Waterhouse Restoration Ecology Center. Give this talk, and then come to the Dare to Lead sessions and listen in, quietly considering my leadership capacity. Now I've said my piece on the science and action issues with this Waterhouse Ecology Center and expressed what I know to others, and I really hope it's the start of something good. I'm excited for Dare to Lead, and I'm excited to see what people have to say about it when I'm not talking. And this is honestly because there are some hard questions in my wholehearted heart that I also have to reflect on. How do I learn? I'm learning about the work of traditional land bearers, like people doing work on forest education, people sharing indigenous knowledge for land restoration in our state and county. And so that leads me to mention another family rumble on restoration ecology, a question on which something you people are always symbolizing with fire! Well, just a few weeks ago, we started to research and read about the Maui fires, and we learned about another invasive management issue in another part of America. As it turns out, ecologists were warning about this possibility of major fires for years, urging communities to replace invasive guinea grasses with native plants and more responsible water hydrology. Because as it turns out, these invasive guinea grasses that came from Africa grow in Hawaii inches a day. They suck up the water and then turn into this explosive tinder in the dry season. And that means that the Maui fire was actually a problem for ecology long before it was a problem for firefighters. We did look up on the internet, and buckthorn and honeysuckle are not necessarily fire risks, just FYI. So as I dare to lead this season, I've also put together my own Rumble Square as I try to do more learning than leading and also think with history in mind. What are these species communities offering and benefiting for human communities? I ask, what does it mean to care for land in a way that abides by principles of the congregational land dedication? What does it mean to bear knowledge of Haudenosaunee lands? So I'm learning a bit more about these land maintenance practices, including, for example, matrilineal leadership through the practice of knowing and relating in animal clans. Where does a tradition of care for the earth begin? And that leads me to my last difficult Dare to Lead question, not as a congregant, but as a mom. Can I help Avi find a spiritual family that will help him develop in the ways that he needs to, as a person in spirit, as a scientist, and also as a land bearer, someone who knows how to take care of land and ecological relationships over time? Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Eve. I'm going to show there just a couple more slides, and we'll make these links available to you. You don't have to memorize them. Well, maybe I should make you memorize them. That'd be fun. Each week, we bring our whole selves into this sacred time. We bring our joys, our concerns, and our sorrows. The table where we meet is at the center, at the heart of this community. I invite you to come forward and to place a stone or shell on the table labyrinth in recognition of all that you bring and all that you are. May we remember that we are called to heal and bring love to broken places. Come forward as you will. Share this prayer. Spirit of life and love, the bond of this gathered community, we bring to the circle of our concern those whose hearts are heavy and those whose hearts are full. May we be mindful of one another and carry each other in sacred trust. Amen, and blessed be. Our Time for All Ages features Linda Joy and Eric Groat.
I'm still not taller. I should walk around with a stool under my feet all the time.
Stilts.
Good morning. My name is Linda Joy, and this is my husband, Eric.
We became members of UU Amherst about 23 years ago after visiting many area temples and churches, when we finally found a just right fit for ourselves and our then 2 young children. Years before that, we had met early in college, and when Linda was 17 and I was 19. We dated for about 5 years before we were married by Carl Titchener, the minister of UU Amherst, in 1990.
Carl helped us write our whole ceremony, and one of the rituals that we incorporated into our wedding was to each take 2 candles and bring them to one candle, a single candle representing our relationship and commitment to one another. This was very important to us as we came from different religious backgrounds and wanted to be sure to blend them together as our new family was forming. We wanted our marriage ceremony to be as inclusive as possible and not to offend either of our family's religious beliefs.
An important symbol that we chose to represent our relationship is this statue of flying geese.
Can you see it?
We actually use this as our wedding cake topper.
So why did we choose geese? Well, Most importantly, wild geese mate for life. Did you know that? It's true. Once they choose a mate, they stick with them through thick and thin. If one... Oh, I was going to do my exercises. If one of them passes away or dies, well, that's the same thing, but they will actually experience observable mourning and will not mate again.
Geese also fly in formation of a V, which has huge benefits for the flock. Each bird flies slightly above the bird in front of them, which reduces wind resistance and creates an uplift that allows the birds behind to rest and conserve energy. This allows the flock to fly more efficiently and reduce travel time.
Wild geese share leadership. The one in the front takes on the highest level of wind resistance, and when they get tired, they move to the back, and another goose takes its place. This shared leadership empowers all the geese to be both leaders and followers, and it helps them to understand the importance of all the positions.
Geese communicate with each other constantly during flight. Scientists think it is so they can keep tabs on each other and maybe to cheer each other on. Honk, honk, are you okay? Yes, I'm okay. Are you? I need a break soon. Okay, whenever you're ready, I'm here.
Kind of like ancient text messaging. Whenever one goose is weakened and cannot continue with the group, another goose, likely the mate, drops out of formation with them until it recovers and is ready to to continue the journey together, flying alone or joining another flock until eventually they catch up with their group.
Life hasn't always been easy in our 38 years together. Often while flying in our formation, Linda and I have become tired, falling back one at a time so the other can lead. This isn't seamless and easy, it's a lot of work. Honking to each other, communicating back and forth, encouraging each other along the way, finding different communities to fly with us as our life experiences take us in unknown directions, like births, deaths, adoptions, school systems, colleges, hospitals, nursing homes, sports, music, and arts programs, and of course, the dynamics of a changing world. The joys and sorrows are continuous and have required immense cooperation.
We can relate this metaphor to our UU Amherst flock. We are flying together in a group, though our formation is not as streamlined. We can strive to be like the geese, looking for ways to take our turns with leadership and empowering others to try their wings. Yes, we can cheer each other on when one gets tired, encourage a rest while another steps up. As we grow, this image of the geese supporting one another is helpful. We are all capable of leadership in our own way. Our Dare to Lead training program beginning in October is part of our attempt to build skills in having hard conversations and being comfortable with vulnerability, which is the basis of empathy. As we build our empathy skills, we open ourselves to heartbreak. As we open to heartbreak, we grow and rise stronger. As we grow stronger, we add to the strength of the world, the earth, the interdependent web of existence of which we are all a part.
These critical lessons were summarized in a Forbes article, a teamwork tutorial, 4 lessons from migrating geese by Carrie Haught Coates, January 6, 2020. Number 1, high-functioning teams are more productive than going at it alone. Number 2, shared leadership empowers others, allowing the team to flourish. Number 3, regular communication is essential for team success. And number 4, collaboration and support are critical for effective teamwork.
In a marriage and in a faith community, we believe, and Coates writes, it's unlikely each member of a team can maintain peak performance at all times. Inevitably, things happen. The best teams are built on a foundation of trust and collaboration, where each team member gives the others the benefit of the doubt and knows they have their back when needed.
Let's take our lessons from the geese and soar to new heights and goals together.
And that little picture over there, that baby goose, is a goose that we rescued in 2014 when some nasty man let his dog out and chased all these geese on Sheridan Drive, and there was one little baby goose left, and I came home crying after I saw it, and Eric hopped in the car with me and our son Matthew, and helped us rescue that baby goose. And boy, were those geese happy to see him when we brought them back together, which we found them on SJ, and they all went honk, 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 honk. They were so happy to see each other, which really reinforced my understanding that they know each other. And I feel like that's a really positive thing. So, thank you.
Thank you.
We are weaving our lives. We are weaving our hearts and our minds. We are weaving the light and dark threads of our journeys through. We are weaving our lives. We are weaving our hearts and our minds. We are weaving the light and dark threads of our journeys through. What you can see on the monitors is the triptych of weavings that you can see when you turn around and look to the back of the chapel. Don't turn around now. It'll make the usher, Elaine, feel very awkward to have you all stare at her right now. But on your way out, take a notice. So how many of you were part of, this is the thing we did way back BC, before COVID. So how many of you participated or were here at the time that we created this tapestry? Okay, thank you. What I see is that a lot of folks have arrived since then, so welcome. So you may not know what that tapestry is all about. So our amazing resident weaver, Pam Kent, who also did the weavings on the things up front, in the lobby, just her fingerprints are on so many things of beauty in our congregation. So I had a conversation with Pam, because I'm very good at ideas, but I'm terrible at making things that are beautiful. So I said, hey Pam, how would it be if for over a course of a church year, over September through June, which is our active time, each month we ask the congregation to bring stuff in a certain color, the colors of the rainbow, because the colors of the rainbow are the way that we teach our children the Unitarian Universalist principles. I can never remember what the colors go with the things. I remember each thing individually, but not how they are woven together. So we did. We invited folks to bring in stuff that was red for a month. And so we got scraps of fabric, bathrobe ties, just an amazing array of things. And each month, Pam would weave what color we had just done, bring them in to encourage us, and the next month we would do the same thing again. And knowing that an eighth principle was on the horizon, we divided each of the colors in shades of black and brown so that we would be able to also integrate, weave in that commitment to justice and multiculturalism and truly working our way through racism and white supremacy and all of the things that are just in the air we breathe. You won't find the principle in the rainbow where the other seven live because it's new and we haven't had a reprint yet. And even now, the principles are being evaluated mostly for their verbiage and how they can be more carefully woven into our experience as Unitarian Universalists. So stay tuned for all of that. And I wanted you to know, and there is a small plaque just So today, Eve has presented us with some opportunities and some challenges. What is our responsibility to the land beyond a symbolic acknowledgement at the beginning of our time together each Sunday? The acknowledgement is a good start, but it's not the whole thing. Just ask Roger and Chris and Angela and Les and Ron and Jameson and all of the many others who have cleared invasive brush, cut and maintained trails, schlepped endless wheelbarrows full of wood chips for the trails, oh my goodness, and created meditative spaces with labyrinths and so much more. We could ask the elders that remain with us about their vision to create a shelter and a gathering place in the clearing at the top of the middle path. We're not expected to have answers today, but I do believe that seeds have been planted, and we have some responsibility to nurture those seeds into life. How do we do that? Linda Joy and Eric have shared with us their secret for nurturing and building relationship in their life story of the power of geese. It's a powerful image of shared ministry, where each of us finds a place in the formation, where we are willing to honk our encouragement rather than our criticism, and where we take our turn at the front, leading the way and taking the brunt of the wind so that the rest of the flock has an easier time, where leadership rotates and carries the vision forward. I could take the metaphor further, adding my hopes for our beloved community. I could point out that geese mate for life and that they stay even when it's raining or snowing or the sun's too hot or the feeding grounds are not to their liking. I am so grateful to all of those around us who have stayed, who have weathered the storms and are still here. I see you. I honor your dedication and your vision of a place where all could freely seek meaning, held in the container of love and friendship. Each week we affirm our deep connection to the land and to one another. We affirm our UU values and our seventh principle in particular, to respect the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. Today we have been challenged to live our values in old and new ways. Even though we are reaching the end of today's service, I believe this is just the beginning of the conversation. It's also a beginning because we get to sing again. Yay! I invite you to rise and body your spirit as we sing Earth Was Given as a Garden, Gray Hymnal number 207, and the words will be up front as well. Then please remain standing for extinguishing the chalice as we end this portion of the service. Let's rev it up a little bit. Earth was given as a garden, cradle for humanity, tree of life and tree of knowledge, placed for this story. Here was as we extinguish the chalice, and Kate, if you would. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. You may be seated for just a couple announcements.
As our service draws to an end, our service to the world is ready to begin. Let me tell you about some of the opportunities to connect and serve in the days to come. Church of the Wild continues to meet in the Ecology Center at 9:30 a.m., Sundays through September. Participants are encouraged to bring a poem or meditation to share. All are welcome. The facilities task force presentation that was scheduled for after coffee hour today has been postponed. Please watch the weekly update email announcements for information and a new date. At next week's service, Reverend Michelle asked the question, how wide is our welcome? Diane Bofinger will now share an announcement regarding the upcoming Living Green Festival. Is Diane, oh, there she is.
Good morning, or almost afternoon. Today, we would like everyone to sign up for volunteering for the Living Green Festival if you would like to do that. I've put sign-up sheets on the table by the window on my right, your left side of the Emerson room. And all we're asking is, do you want a sitting job, standing job? Do you have the ability to be a runner, which would be somebody who might be taking tickets for food and taking them to Bruce to cook the food and then bringing the food back out, or if you can handle money. And Laurie Kaznicki and I today are hoping to finalize the volunteer schedule. So even if you're just thinking, I'm just going to be there all day and I'm going to do whatever, we really need your name on the sheet so we can try to figure out whether we have all the bases covered. So please do that. We hope everybody will come and enjoy the Living Green Festival. Also on the website, you can look and see a fairly firm schedule of what's going on. So you may be wanting to attend and enjoy different events yourself, and maybe you don't want to volunteer during that time. What Laurie and I hope is maybe around midweek we'll send out the volunteer schedule, and then if you have a conflict, maybe you can switch with somebody else to make our burden a little bit lighter. So we're going to do our best with it. And also on Friday night, there's a potluck dinner. Whether you're volunteering or not, everybody in the church is invited to come. So also on that same place, there'll be a sign-up sheet for what you would like to bring for the potluck, just to see that we have balanced food, I guess. And I'm not sure what time the potluck starts. 6? Okay, thank you. And the Living Green Festival is noon to 7:30. So take a look at the website to get a better idea of the tentative schedule, or it's a fairly firm schedule now. Thank you.
The Living Green Festival, second one. We're gonna have alpacas, the goats, those cute goats, the cutest alpacas in the world. I think there might be chickens. There'll be a bouncy house, amazing speakers and programming and vendors. Come, I'm gonna take attendance. And I would like you to bring all your friends. I won't really take attendance, but please know that you are invited with great enthusiasm from your minister.
And now we'll hear from Linda Joy again.
So I'm going to have a very impromptu connections meeting after service, because I'm going to take the space that the facilities team vacated. Anybody that's on my team or not on my team that wants to be part, I have some really short-term projects that I want to engage people on. It doesn't have to be a big commitment, but just a few things. And I'm also going to be putting my computer up on the screen with our volunteer spreadsheet that we can start filling in some of the holes so everybody can see where you might be able to get involved. Okay, thank you.
Finally, see the church newsletter, The Forward, for information regarding upcoming services and events. Hard copies can be found in the lobby, and the digital version is on our website, uuamherst.org. And of course, we would be remiss if we didn't invite you to participate in supporting the mission and ministry of UU Amherst with your financial gifts. You'll find a green basket at the back of the chapel to receive your contributions, or you can give online by going to our website, uuamherst.org, and clicking on the giving link, or text your gift to the number on the screen. Your gifts and participation are important because we pick fruit from trees we did not plant. We drink water from wells we did not dig. This is all as it should be, so long as we dig and plant for those who come after us. Your generous giving supports the work of this congregation.
And now I invite you to rise in body or spirit as we sing our closing blessing together. And don't forget, on the third verse, sing to one another. I get all the love. Y'all are singing at me. Oh, we're friends. This is super. Third verse, make a point to turn your eyes to other people. Okay. Travel light and travel easy till I see you once again. Travel light and travel easy and remember may the road rise up to greet you. As you leave the blessed yard, okay, now's the time. Travel We do not have much time to gladden the hearts of those who travel this way with us. So be swift to love and make haste to be kind. Go in peace.